We've got an isolation crisis that I believe is fueling the mental health crisis, because if your brain is connected, the way that you heal from trauma, the way that your brain heals from difficulty is to connect with another person. It's just physically the way God made you. It's the way God made your brain. So if you've got, this is why even like bad talk therapy works. Like if you go to counseling and pay for counseling, which I highly recommend, especially as leaders, because there are times that you are going to need a professional to understand and to help you with the pressures that you feel that your small group at church can't help with, right? And that's what's so powerful about this group, is you're doing this for each other. But what you're doing for each other, when you share something difficult, what you're doing is pathways that get blocked. So how people forget trauma that happened to them when they were a kid, or forget trauma that even happened to them when they were an adult. The way that your brain is protecting itself is like pathways close off and block so that your body can cope with that distress. And trauma can be a whole range of things. It can be a difficult relationship with your parent. It can be a difficult relationship with your child. It can be being in a marriage where your spouse has mental health issues and has lashed out at you. And even though you know why, it still is traumatizing. And so trauma can run the range of abuse, but also just really difficult relationships that I think all of us have. And so what happens is your brain shuts off pathways. And when those pathways are opened is when you are connecting and no longer alone in pain. The most toxic thing on planet Earth that you can do is be alone in anything, but specifically in pain. And the reason why is because your brain was made to heal through connection. And what's amazing is science, you go research this, it's everywhere. Psychiatrists know it's what the mental health world is doing. The self-help world is talking about this. But you read the Bible and it was just a given. Like that was what we were supposed to do for each other, is encourage each other as long as it is called a day, to bear with each other's burdens, to carry each other's burdens, to mourn with those who mourn. Some of you have been married. I'm going to speak to the guys for a minute, although I think as a girl, I'm similar to this. So I don't think this is just a gender thing. Some of you have been married for a long time, and your wife has come to you multiple times, bawling her eyes out. And every time you have tried to fix the problem, and you cannot understand to the life of you, and you actually have a really helpful solution to the problem. It's never helped. And you can't understand why. And the reason why is because there is something her brain needs, and your brain too, by the way, although boys are slower to admit it. Our brains need more than an answer to fix the problem. They need companionship in the struggle. They need to know that they are not alone in the struggle. It has taken me so much discipline in groups like y'all are in right now, where people are correcting me, saying, Jennie, quit telling me what you think. I want you to tell me what you feel when I share that with you. I have had to be coached to do this because I love fixing people. It is so much more fun and clean and rewarding to fix someone. It is just, I love it. And it has taught me I have to keep my mouth shut. But what's happened is I've been on the receiving end now of people listening to what I share and saying, I feel sad when you tell me about the loss of that family member and what it means to you. I feel grief when you share that pressure at work. I feel angry that your dad said that to you. That takes me off. When someone says to you, I feel this with you, all of a sudden, I'm not alone in being angry at my dad, but something about not feeling alone in my anger, and that feeling wakes up and allows me to feel things that I hadn't felt. It allows me to heal from things that I couldn't heal from just mentally. Some of you have struggled with things and you can't figure out why you can't get over it. Sin patterns or possibly just things like anxiety that you just can't break out of it and you don't know why. And you're sitting there saying to yourself, I trust God. Why is this not working? Like, I'm doing all the right things. Why is this not working? I would say you need somebody to mourn with you. You need somebody to celebrate with you. You need somebody to be in it with you. Witness wasn't something that the Bible talked a lot about because it was something that the Bible assumed. The entire Bible, Genesis to Revelation, it begins with a triune God, a God who in himself is communal. He is communal. Our God is Father, Son, Holy Spirit, all three, always was. And he revealed it right in the beginning. He said, let us create man in our image. He shows his Trinitarian form right off the bat. And then he creates a man. And the very first thing he says about him, the very first thing, and we always hear this taught about in marriage, but we don't hear it taught about in business. We don't hear it taught about in project management, but it is not good for man to be alone. It isn't good for a human to be alone. So anything you are doing by yourself, any problem you are solving by yourself, any thought pattern you are trying to break by yourself, any sin pattern you're trying to break by yourself, I would reckon any dream you have that you're trying to build, any talk you're preparing, any leadership decision you got to make, and you're doing it by yourself, I'm going to tell you what God said about mankind. It is not good for you to be alone. It is not good for you to be alone. I have learned this even in writing books, from outlining to editing. There are people surrounding me. That is an isolated project, right? I spend a lot of hours alone, but I'm constantly bringing people in. Why? Because it is not good for people to be alone. And I would say that the ability to let people into your life is a skill that is learned. It is a skill that is risky. It is a skill that costs potentially everything. If you think about the most difficult moments in your life, they probably were not the moments of a diagnosis or a death or a terrible phone call. They were moments of betrayal, of rejection, of hurt. I'm not saying that the diagnoses weren't terrible, but the times you have been isolated and alone and been turned against and betrayed, because oftentimes in my life, the most difficult moments of my life, people moved in the force, great force. They were around me. I wasn't alone in those moments. I felt really loved and held up, and I felt the presence of God and the presence of people. But the times that I have had gossip spread about me to where people have doubted me and my leadership, and I have been alone in my room and not wanting to get out of bed, those have been dark, dark moments where I don't know if I'm going to make it. People are the best of life and the worst of life. They are the best moments. In fact, every moment that you think of as your best memories that you've ever had, they probably have people you love in them, right? And every worst moment probably has someone that has hurt you in them. And so this is the riskiest thing we can do, is to open ourselves up to people.